Alright, welcome back. It's another classic joint right there. You know who it is, the NFL Exporter live on Raw Radio. You are tuned in to the Exporter Sports Talk Show. And let's go ahead and jump into some trending topics that's going on in the NFL after week one. We're going to start with our injury report, and the biggest injury to come out of week one was a player who actually was not even playing at the time. The Indianapolis Colts outside linebacker Robert Mathis, who led the NFL with 19 and a half sacks last year, was actually sitting out the first 4 games of the season due to violating the NFL's performance enhancement drug policy. He tore his Achilles tendon, and for all of you who know about sports, if you tear your Achilles, you're pretty much done for a year. And so, man, that's a big blow to that Indianapolis Colts team. He was really the only player who could give them a good pass rush. And so with him gone, I have no idea how Indianapolis is going to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks. But we certainly wish him the best of luck. And you hate to see these injuries hit because Mathis, along with some of these other players who got injured in the preseason, and will continue to get injured as the season goes on. You just hate seeing some of these guys out of action because they bring a lot of fun and excitement to the football field. Next in line, we had Tyler Eifert, the tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals. And so I forgot to mention him in the top ads for the week for fantasy football, but Jermaine Gresham now is the number 1 tight end out in Cincinnati. He was splitting time with Eifert. Eifert really had an opportunity to take full control, but he dislocated his elbow. He's going to be out 8 to 10 weeks. And so, man, we certainly wish him the best. But Tyler Eifert, the tight end for the Bengals, is gone for quite some time. Next, we had a couple other season-ending injuries. We're talking about Derek Johnson, the inside linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs lost their starting defensive end Mike DeVito for the entire season. And so that is a big blow for a team who was really relying on that tough defense to help keep them in ball games and squeak out close victories. And so, man, they got whooped at home by Tennessee 26-10. Losing those 2 guys certainly doesn't help their cause at all. Next, we had Ben Tate go down with a knee injury for the Cleveland Browns. Now, right now, again, it's uncertain as to how serious the injury is. So that's something we're going to keep a close eye on because, as I mentioned to you, Terrence West, if he wasn't drafted, is certainly a candidate behind him at running back who looks like he could be a major factor in fantasy football this year. Then we had a couple guys catch some hamstring injuries, which certainly is not uncommon. Alshon Jeffrey of the Chicago Bears and Jordan Reed of the Washington Redskins both came up a little gimpy after tightening those hamstrings, so we're certainly going to monitor their situations as well. Now, the NFL is currently voting on a new drug policy. What they're wanting to do, or what the Players Association is wanting to get done, is to increase the threshold, meaning that the tolerance level, when these players take these tests, they want the tolerance level to be higher. And to me, I think that's a travesty. That makes absolutely positively no sense whatsoever. What it says to me is these players do not want to be disciplined. They don't want to stay clean. I mean, come on, how are you talking about increasing the threshold of the amount of drugs that you have in your system, whether it's a drug like marijuana or it's a drug like some type of illegal substance to help your performance on the football field? Nonetheless, and this is what's very interesting about this. Now, you have Josh Gordon of the Cleveland Browns and Wes Welker of the Denver Broncos, who are both right now suspended. Gordon for a year, Welker for 4 games for violating the performance enhancement drug policy. Now, if the NFL and the Players Association are able to come to agreement on this new threshold, the NFL is talking about going back and letting Josh Gordon play this year and lifting the ban off of Wes Welker. And what word on the street is that this whole thing really came about concerning Welker. You know that he's with the Denver Broncos, and let's face it, the NFL is all about its product. It wants to make sure that it has all of its great players out there on the field, and certainly Welker and Josh Gordon are that. But this is the interesting thing. Now, usually when a player gets busted for performance enhancement drugs or something like that, it comes out to the media and to the public immediately, and then at that point the player is able to file an appeal and either have the suspension withhold or the suspension is lifted. So in Wes Welker's case, what happened was he got busted but was able to keep this story out of the public and media's eye. By the time we found out, it was already after his appeal was denied. And so I think that's very interesting that he was able to keep that under wraps and try to file for the appeal. In other words, if he would have won his appeal, then we never would have known about this issue at all. And so, man, you know, that's something that's completely unacceptable. But again, these players certainly find loopholes and ways to get around the system. Now, in Josh Gordon's case, as well as Welker and any of these other players, I don't think that should be the case, because I tell you what, for somebody sitting in prison, for somebody sitting in jail, if they come out with a new law, they aren't going back and letting these guys out of prison or out of jail, because at the time that the new law was made, these guys had already done what they did. And I just think it's unfair. I think it's unjust if the NFL has players suspended under a current policy, and then when they make a new policy, they apply it to the players who got caught in the past. And so I think that is a complete travesty, especially for Josh Gordon. And let's get it straight. I love NFL football. Gordon is definitely a very fun and exciting player, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. But when a guy fails a drug test last year, misses a couple games, comes back this year, fails another drug test to miss a couple games, and then while he's awaiting appeal, gets stopped and arrested for speeding and drunken driving, I would say that it's more important for him to get his personal life together than be on the football field. Yes, I understand the money aspect, but this guy's a star. He's not going anywhere, and I think that it's just a shame that the NFL is thinking about lifting this guy's ban, because like I said, for the everyday common average person, we certainly would not be able to get that same pass. We all know in society that celebrities, athletes, and people with money are able to get themselves out of situations where the normal person would find themselves in big trouble. The other big news to come out of the NFL this week was obviously Ray Rice of the Baltimore Ravens. For those of you who are familiar with the story, there may be some of you who are unfamiliar with the story. Rice, over the summer, got into an altercation with his then fiance and now wife out in New Jersey at the casino. And originally, the only video surveillance that we were able to see was showing Rice dragging his unconscious girlfriend or fiance at the time out of the elevator onto the hotel floor. Well, conveniently, yesterday, the media was able to leak the surveillance camera that was inside the elevator prior to them getting out. It showed them getting into a shouting match, and then it showed Ray Rice punching or hitting her 2 times in her face, and on the second hit, it appears that she fell unconscious, or she at least fell and hit her head on the side of the elevator, which caused her to be unconscious. And so no more than maybe about 2 or 3 hours later that story had broke, the Baltimore Ravens terminated Ray Rice's contract, and the NFL put him on an indefinite ban from playing football in the NFL. And so this obviously made major headlines. It's all everybody's been talking about yesterday as well as today. And I don't know. I think that that's a situation as well where if you have a punishment already in place, you have to stick to that. But I certainly understand people's frustration with it. And I think overall, with the NFL having an astounding fan base of 45% women, I think they kind of got their hand forced. That if they would have allowed Ray Rice to play after people seen that video footage, it probably would have been a black eye for the NFL, and it certainly would have been very rough on Ray Rice. And so we certainly wish him and his family the best. I know that his wife took to Twitter and was saying that she didn't like that, that her and her family did not like having their personal business splashed all over the media, having to relive those moments. She has continued to stand by and support her husband. And so, I think on Roger Goodell's original 2-game suspension, that is something that was taken into consideration, was that he was there with his wife. they spoke to the commissioner together and really wanted to be advocates for domestic violence, and really teaching people the seriousness of it, and really wanted to kind of take that on their shoulders to really educate people and help them understand the seriousness of that situation. So nonetheless, Ray Rice is gone for the entire year, and it's going to be very interesting now to see what happens in the next couple cases that are going to come up. You have Greg Hardy for the Carolina Panthers, and from what I hear, what is described in the report is much worse than the Ray Rice situation. So we'll see if he ends up suspended or banned from the NFL. And then also Ray McDonald of the San Francisco 49ers also got into a domestic violence situation last week. And so we'll certainly see how the NFL is going to handle both of those stories. Now, this topic here is not NFL related, but again, this is the Exporter Sports Talk Show. We do talk about relevant and trending topics in the sports world, period. And the big news to come out of Atlanta this week was their owner, or I should say at this point, former owner, Bruce Levinson, who held the majority controlling interest in that team. Back in 2012, he sent an email to the Hawks president, and he was being racist. He was making references about hip-hop versus country music, white people versus black people, that the white fans may be afraid of the black fans, and things of that nature. And this is a disgrace. This is truly a disgrace. This is the second time within 6 months that we have an NBA owner who does not mind having all black players, or the majority of his players black, who make his franchise a ton of money. He doesn't mind having a lot of black fans who are making a lot of money, making him and his franchise a lot of money. But he has negative things to say, and is being a bigot and being racist. And I think this is rather disturbing. Right now, it looks like he's basically trying to squeeze and sneak his way out of it, because if it, basically if the NBA would have had an opportunity to punish him, then he would have got publicly humiliated. Instead, he resigned his position, and the Hawks are up for sale. And so that's going to be interesting to see how that situation plays out. But this was a story that broke basically over the weekend. This story broke before the Ray Rice story, and so I think it's rather funny. And I don't know if this was intentional or coincidental, but the media broke the Ray Rice footage yesterday, and this story has definitely deflected the attention off the seriousness and sadness of what this owner in Atlanta had to say about his fans and about his players and about his cheerleaders. I mean, it's really ridiculous. And so, I don't know how the fans are feeling down there in Atlanta, but this is certainly a situation that needs to be addressed rather quickly. And, man, you just see with these owners, again, that they only care about making money. They really, these two guys really didn't care about their players. And in this particular instance, they're fans. And I don't know how you can be talking bad about people who, again, are selling out your arena and put money in your pocket. Nonetheless, Bruce Levinson, the former owner of the Atlanta Hawks, definitely needs to publicly apologize and take responsibility for his actions. He should have some major consequences in his near future as well. That wraps up this segment. It's the NFL Exporter live on Raw Radio. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to preview our games for Week 2 in the NFL. Stay tuned.